Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Somebody pull the trigger. We are in business now. We'll make a killing. I don't know why we're hating. Yeah,
Helmet live on the afternoon show, sounding so good. Thank you so much.
Cool, our pleasure.
That is so long. Welcome to Algiers. Right before that, you guys are in town playing Drill Seattle tonight. This is a 3-night music festival co-curated by Wire and KEXP. You guys are headlining tonight at the Crocodile. And FF on the bill as well. Now, Paige, I know you played on Wire's 2008 album, I believe, Object 47.
Yeah.
Let's rewind a bit as far back as we need to. When did you first become aware of Wire, and what kind of influence did they have on you as a guitarist?
In the late 80s, I was in a band called Band of Susans in New York before I formed Helmet, and they said, we're going on tour with this English band called Wire, and I'm fresh out of jazz grad school, so I'm like, sounds cool, and day one, fell in love with them, just flipped out. I went and got their records and just spun them, and Pink Flag and Chairs Missing and 154. Those
first three are amazing.
Yeah, and then that tour was the Bell as a Cup tour. So and Danny and I did Boiling Boy with him the other night. So that was kind of full circle. That was '88, I think, something like that. And we just kind of stayed in touch over the years, via email, and I'd see him on tour, and they asked me to join the band when Bruce left, and they're all heroes of mine. And I've spent time with Bruce and in London drinking beers and stuff, and so it was kind of a little weird. But I was like, man, to get asked by heroes of yours to play is pretty cool. So
yeah, that's got to be remarkable.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out because of just kind of transcontinental. Logistics.
It was months in the kind of planning. I started looking at apartments around in Europe. I lived in Berlin as a student, and in Stuttgart, but I speak German, so I was like, maybe I could live in Berlin, because Graham's in Uppsala, Sweden, and Colin is in Belgium, and I think Robert's in London still, or outside of London. Anyway, it just didn't make sense. I mean, the 5,000-mile flight, and we're playing a festival in Helsinki today, and you guys are in, Dessel or whatever, so just wouldn't have worked out.
Yeah, so through that, though, Object 47 collaborations, or you got invited to participate in that after
they sent me a song called Rotterdam. They had jammed it up in Rotterdam, and before it had a title, and it was just amazing. And I said, of course. So I, in my typical over the top, do too much, I sent them like 8 tracks of guitars, and I gave them various mix options. I said, we could start with this guitar, bring it in, and just just completely ridiculous. And they were like, don't it's cool, Paige, we'll handle it, And it's a great tune, a great album. I mean, a really great album. And love it. It was an absolute honor to get to play with them. So.
Well, they feel the same way. They said when they were curating this festival and coming up with the idea that you guys were at the top of the list, and they had to play with you again.
That's why we made it happen. We're heading to Australia with the Melvins next week, and so we weren't really planning for this. But I said we have to do whatever we can to make this happen. So we're doing Spokane last night, did Portland. With them, just these 3 little shows, just so we could to do this, and I'm so glad we did. So
well, very cool, and it's a great opportunity for KEXP listeners to see you in an intimate space, because the Crocodile will be awesome for the show.
Haven't been there for years, so looking forward to it.
So Colin Newman, on an interview leading up to this on the blog, said he was commenting. Well, he said that you had said when you were working with Bowie in the late '90s, when you played with him on was it the Hours tour?
Who?
David Bowie.
Oh, that. Oh, yeah.
That Bowie used to say, "Hey, Paige, can you do sort of that Wire guitar sound?"
Yeah.
Is that true?
It was interesting. We were doing the Jules Holland show, and it's Diana Krall, a band called Elastica, and you. I don't know if you know the show, but you sit around.
Oh, yeah.
The bands are all set up in a circle, and you play. And anywhere you go with Bowie, it's a special thing. So like everybody's going to do 2 songs. Well, David Bowie's going to do 5 songs. And but we were sitting in the dark, kind of, when we're waiting, and Elastica starts playing, and David and I are having cigarettes. I used to smoke. He used to smoke. We're having a cigarette, and I lean in, and I go, "This song is Wire. It's a Wire ripoff." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "No, it's a Wire song. It's called Lowdown." Or it might have been Three Girl Rumba. Three Girl
Rumba, yeah.
Yeah, no perfect ripoff. I had never heard Elastica. I'd heard of them, whatever. And so when Nine Inch Nails were playing in the Garden, I ran into Coco, Bowie's assistant, and she said, "What are you doing? Let's hang out." And I said, "I'm going to see Wire play." And she calls me the next day. It's like, "I tell David everything, and he wants to go with you to see Wire." So I'm like, I guess, whatever. I said, should I get him on the guest list? So anyway, I took him back and met the boys. He knew, he was aware of Wire, but he his comment was that they reminded him a little of Noi.
Yeah.
The German band Noi, which is
I can hear that. Sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, he loves Wire though, and I kind of quizzed him beforehand. Okay, they're going to be playing songs about Pink Flag, Chairs Missing, 154. He's like, right, okay, just because he likes to know what's going on. He wants to,
yeah,
he's down with the kids.
How would you describe the Wire guitar sound compared to the Helmet guitar sound? And can you give me an example?
An example, a song
for listeners. Yeah, just a
song,
riff. Like a sonic example of what, if you were going to say, hey, this is the Wire guitar sound.
I can't actually, because I'm playing 100-watt high gain head, and my sound is my sound.
Yep.
With this, I love their sound. Bruce Gilbert was, he said, well, I'm really lazy, so I play in drop D tuning. And I'm like, never thought of that. And I didn't write a song in drop D until I was walking home one night and got a riff in my head. And I always have kind of I love AC/DC as well. So there's that kind of rhythmic groove influence. And our guitars are a little cleaner. Bruce's sound was extremely high gain, overdriven. I mean, I could play you,
put him on the spot. Thank you.
One wire chord. We're in different tunings, so it's not going to be right. But maybe if I their song would be more. Their sound. Would be, kind of sludgy, sort of, and they do cool things that are like they like. They move notes against the chords. It's really simple but ingenious and beautiful, and it hooked me. That dissonance and between Glenn Branca and Wire, those two bands were huge influence on my writing style. But I also liked, as I said, the rhythmic groove kind of thing of AC/DC. So I tried to write songs with one chord, and I wasn't successful. So
it sounds like it's probably, I mean, to an outsider, it might sound really easy, one chord, but man, what a challenge.
They groove, the whole band. It's playing. When I finally got a chance to play with them live in Los Angeles, they played the Echoplex, and they said, hey, well, let's do the song you did and maybe Lowdown. And then they threw a couple at me in the dressing room because the place just erupted. It was a real epic show. And we're in the dressing room, we're like, we have to do 1-2-XU, and I can't even remember what else. And I'm like, oh, God, thanks, So I had to go out there and kind of wing it. But it was just phenomenal, like the rush of playing with them, because, the groove is just, I mean, Robert is a complete drum machine, just grooves his rear off. And between he and Graham, and you watch, they'll have kind of, well, not all, but like the Graham and Bruce had really bad technique. He had a huge, giant golf ball on his wrist from the tendonitis and the buildup, because they watch Graham too. He plays. I don't know what is he doing? It's actually, they're like, what the hell are you doing with your digging at the strings? And it's just, they've just developed this thing. They're like they're a this kind of piston right hand downstroke thing that's just, and it's really difficult. I just produced a band in France, and they were going all like Sheryl Crow strummy, and I'm like, no, all downstrokes. You got to lock in, and that's how Wire gets that kind of big wall of power. It's this sort of downstrokey thing. And
well, you guys have radically different sounds, but I was going to say something in common is the precision.
Yeah.
With which Helmet and Wire play.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's got a really nice sounding English voice. I have a really nasty sounding American, Oregon accent. So.
Perspectives. I was going to ask about Glenn Branca because, you guys headlining tonight, and then tomorrow you're taking part in this thing, the Pink Flag Orchestra, which will be a giant guitar ensemble playing Pink Flag, which is like a 3-minute long song that's been reduced from 2 chords to 1, which should be epic and glorious and beautiful. What do you expect out of that, and how might that differ from the work you did with Glenn Branca, and was that in the early 80s?
Actually, the last time I played with Glenn was a couple of years ago at the Disney Hall in Los Angeles. He did Symphony 13, the 100 electric guitar. Yep. So it's 20 basses and 80 guitars, and
on stage at one time.
One stage at one time. It's a remarkable piece. I heard him premiere it at the World Trade Center that year before the attacks, and it's an incredible piece. And he's constantly refining and working on the piece, and he's played it all over the world. And he said the performance in Los Angeles was his favorite. There's so many great. Mike Watt was in the bass section. I mean, I was just like, Mike, it's just there's an incredible collection of musicians down there, and that was you're playing open tune guitars with kind of Glenn's chord vocabulary, and he uses standard notation now. Back in the 80s, he didn't. He used lines on a page with numbers. So 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2. So you had to.
So all
count.
the guests had to figure out like sort of his language, or
and
his.
he would cue the sections, and he had the guitars in sopranos, altos, tenors, and baritones, and then bass, and he had a drummer. Now he doesn't do that. He has he has, I think it's mostly altos and tenors. The soprano guitars are these like really light string, high pitched, and it's incredible music. I mean, absolutely incredible music. And you hear, the overtones create trumpet sounds and angel choirs, and it's really a rush to hear live. And the Disney Hall is a fantastic place to play. So. This is going to be more like maybe what Glenn did with Theoretical Girls, his pop group back in the 80s before he started writing guitar orchestra music. The Wire thing, I'm saying, because it's a rock. We're playing a rock song. And I don't know how many guitarists are going to be up there. I hope there's 30. I think it's just such a trip to be to bathe yourself in that distortion, that wall of distortion. As Iggy Pop said, it changes your body chemistry, and that's people are like, oh, Helmet, your big amps or whatever. I'm like, no, it's sound pressure creates another musical element, and that's all part of it. And the feel of air moving speakers and stopping is really dramatic, and it feels great.
Yeah, realigns your molecules somehow.
Yeah, I'm addicted to it. When I didn't do Helmet, when I was playing with Bowie and Helmet broke up there in '98, I really missed it. I missed this part of my musical personality, and it keeps me out of therapy. So
and fun.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It's Helmet Live on the afternoon show, playing tonight at the Crocodile along with FF. How about a couple more songs?
Absolutely. We're going to do a song off of the Aftertaste record from '97, and then a song off the first record. We thought it would be fun. Blacktop, and exactly what we wanted. Here.
It's KEXP Seattle.
You want to do exactly first? Let's do exactly first, yeah.
I'm not so good realizing who I can or cannot trust. It's best to keep what matters vague. These harmless lies I can't adjust. I get a D for disappointment.
It's Helmet live on the afternoon show. Blacktop, the track from 1990, Strap It On from Amphetamine Reptile Records. And you got a new split 7-inch coming out on Amphetamine Reptile, right?
Yeah, with the Melvins, yeah.
Very cool. For the Australian tour?
Yeah, Australia. We're leaving in December, yeah.
Very cool. Well, have a great time.
Thank you.
And have an awesome time tonight playing at the Crocodile. It is Helmet along with FF, part of Drill Seattle. And
thanks for having us.
Man, it was so great having you on the air. Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you. It's the afternoon show, KEXP. Big time thanks to Kevin Suggs on sound and Julietta for running the board. KEXP Seattle.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?